Olá a todos, bem-vindos a mais uma conversa da Look Mag. Hoje tenho o enorme prazer de receber o baixista da banda sueca Graveyard, o Truls Mörck. O Truls vem acompanhado dos outros elementos da banda no dia 26 de abril a Portugal para um concerto que vai certamente ser memorável. E em jeito de antecipação, vamos conversar um bocadinho com ele. First of all, Truls, thank you so much for being here. It is a great pleasure for us to having you and welcome to our talks.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I would like to ask you, in 2018, you released a piece. Five
Yep.
years later, you are releasing Six,
Yeah.
a funny name and a powerful name for a record, the
Yeah.
number six.
Yeah. Sure.
But how did you create? How did was the all the creative process of the album? How did you develop them, and how did it come to life?
Yeah. We released, like you said, we released Peace in 2018, and we were touring for 2 years.
Yeah.
A lot, like very much, and we toured all the way. We did our last shows in March of 2020.
Yeah. Then the
And
pandemic.
yeah, and then we came back home, and we were, working really hard, really on top, of like touring, like in that pace. And then all of a sudden, bang, everything just got canceled. So we were like stuck at home, 2020, 2021, and, thought we'd take the time to write some music. And with all that silence and that slow pace of those days, I feel like a lot of emotions and thoughts came up that had been maybe put to the side for a long time while we were touring so much. So yeah, new topics came up, new moods, new feelings that had to be processed, reflected in the music. And so the songs we did those days they are about, kind of introspective. Like many people have said, it sounds like an introspective and dark album, and I think it's true. It is. A lot of the lyrics deal with, those solitude perhaps, and not really knowing where we're going, and the uncertainty of the future, and maybe a little bit of the, like, I don't want to say hangover is a weird word to use, but coming down from all that crazy touring and just sitting at home, and it kind of like it like crawling a little bit in your skin, because you don't really. One part of me was kind of happy to just take time off, and another part of me was really anxious to go out and play, and yeah. So those things inevitably rubbed up on the music, and created a sort of a somber, like bit more mellow record.
Mm-hmm. The new album was recorded in two studios, right? What
Mhm.
led you to take this option to make in two different places the recording of the album?
Well, at first we wanted to go to the studio. It's an isolated studio out in the forest
Yeah.
of Sweden, sort of a legendary place where we thought we could, get away from day-to-day life a little bit, and a retreat sort of, and just you can sleep there. There's like bunk beds. It's an old school, so you have,
Oh, wow. Mhm.
yeah,
Sounds cool.
yeah, it's very cool. Like you have to go to do like grocery shopping. There's nothing around there. Just you have to drive like 30 minutes to go get groceries, and you have to cook and live together and play music, and it's, it could have been good, but for some reason we didn't really click at that, so. And for us as parents and everything, it was sort of a big project to go away for a whole week to record. So then we decided to, there's some songs on the album. Yeah, we did record there, but there was also a lot of the material that we couldn't use, or like we couldn't really finish. So we decided to keep working in a studio in the city where we live instead, so that we could just like commute back and forth and come home in the evenings. And yeah, and that had pros and cons also. It was easier to just like, okay, I'll come like a little bit later, like, or, people will be like, yeah, it was a crazy time because we didn't, since the future was looking so weird, we didn't really have any tours coming up. There was just like this ocean of time that was just floating around, and we were, yeah, it was hard to get it down actually, but it took a while. We were kind of it was a slow process, and the producer we were working with was also kind of slow. So, and then we finally got, we would get together, and then I remember like this one time, and it happened many times. We finally got together to record, and someone in the band got a phone call, and like their kid had like been coughing at school, and they're like, okay, like let's just blow it off and go home. And see you in 2 weeks, and then just time just like, so that's something we don't want to do again. So we're next album, like we're working on an album right now. It's just going to be, we learned a lot of lessons that from the last album, that you can't, time is so precious, and it's
Yeah.
you want to really, really, really get be prepared before you like go in the studio.
When we listen to Six, we can hear more guitars. Was that a purpose for the band to make the guitars come to the front of the music?
Yeah, it was. I'd say Peace, the album we did 2018. Me and the drummer like wrote a lot of the songs together with like bass and drums, and then the guitarists would come in and sort of, yeah, they came in a little bit later. Whereas on the Sixth album, the guitarists wrote most of the songs, so they were more guitar centric, like especially Jonathan, our lead guitarist, I guess you could say, or the guy who doesn't sing. He wrote a lot of the songs, and it was it was a time for him to he could work out a lot of his ideas that he had at home. You maybe when you sit and play guitar at home, you don't want to like have the full on volume.
Yeah.
So he would experiment with like a little bit of a lower volume sound, cleaner tones, like you may hear, and then we all of us had to like tone it down a little bit to make him shine. So yeah, it's a little bit different dynamic.
Do you have a preferred song in this album? The one that comes close to your heart?
I like to play Twice, the lead single we did, almost the only song that kind of little faster song we do. I think that's a song that I always love that riff. To play that riff is just fun. Yeah, it's a fun song to play, but yeah. And then we do another song. It's called Rampant Fields that we do a lot live now. It's a fun song to play. Also, it has all this like really cool twin guitar melodies going, and it's that kind of a blues number that perhaps inspired by Peter Green or Fleetwood Mac, or 60s, like British 60s blues, or that we all love. Like, I think that was very much like a Jonathan song where he kind of nailed that.
Yeah.
So it's a good song as well.
Do you think this is a harder record to play live or not? Because it's more intense, a little bit more melancholic. It's more difficult for you to play it or not?
If it's what?
More difficult to go on stage?
Some of the songs are very difficult to play. Actually, it's you can't really rely on just power. Sometimes some of the songs we have from old, you can just rely on just like bashing it out, and
exactly.
But some of these songs, like that song, is very hard to play. Like Rampant Fields is it's it's the hardest song we do for sure, because it's so like the guitars needs to be so like pitch correct, and like my bass line, like that's a hard one, but it's really fun to play, because I think the result can be really good if we do it right. So Like I know that you have this like idea of how good it can be, and then you just aim for that, and it's challenging, but rewarding at the same time.
When Six was released, were you kind of afraid of the reviews from your fans? Because it's different, it's a different
Yeah,
record.
yeah. I mean, a little bit maybe. Yeah, we did have a feeling maybe it was lacking some like faster numbers, but
Yeah.
and I think it does actually. To be honest, I think that we should have, but I like it as it is. It was and it really adds to the live show that we have now. The set list we play, or the batch of songs that we work with right at the moment. Like these new songs, I feel add really some sort of depth and emotion to the set that been lacking before. So it's not an album we do front to back, but it is an album that we can pick enough songs off of to enrich the experience of the show. So it's good.
When we have the record on hands and we go listen to the record, would you advise to listen to the first until the end, or we can pick some tracks in between?
Well, we were kind of we put a lot of effort into the order of the songs. To be
Yeah.
honest, we had it on. We brought like a computer on a tour we did a while back, and we all sat together. It was kind of a cool moment actually when we took like half a day for the whole band to just experiment with different running orders, and came up with this one that we thought was good. So, but I mean, me when I listen to records, I don't listen to like rarely. I just pick songs from everywhere. Like I don't. I know people want to like put effort into the song running order, and it's important for some records, but in general, I just skip. I mostly listen in my car, just like skipping, like on random. I have
like,
good stuff. Yeah.
like a buffet. You go into a buffet and you pick this and you pick that.
Yeah, and then you end up with a bellyache. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Tell
yeah.
me one thing. One thing I read that you wrote as a band. You read something like this record should be picked and enjoyed like the forbidden fruit in your backyard. It's lovely. But why forbidden, God? Why?
For the drama, I guess.
It was beautiful. I love this sentence.
Yeah. No, I don't think it. Yeah, it's just you never know how you're gonna feel, when you pick a forbidden fruit. Like it's a risk you have to take. You never know where you end up.
You are challenging everybody to pick the fruit,
Yeah,
and let's see what comes out of this.
exactly. Yeah.
You are coming to Portugal on the next 26th
Hmm.
of April. What
Yep.
can we expect from this concert of Graveyard?
Oh, you can expect, whatever you think we're good at, that's what we're gonna bring in, because I think we're really on the top of our game at the moment. We did that. There's been like, I've been feeling this like like a really cool like new spark of energy the last year, or since the album came out. Really, it's been like, okay, we have to meet the fans again, like we've had since we came back touring. It's just you realize how much that means, and that it is so important to just. It's a give and take. Like we don't want to. I feel like for a while we were touring so much back in 2019. Some shows were not as good as they should have been, but now we try to avoid that. So like every show has to be like the best way we can ever. We need to be proud of every show. So that's really important nowadays.
Yeah.
Just find us, the best, the best version of Graveyard. I feel like is right now.
And what do you expect from us?
Oh, you expect what I expect.
Yeah.
Well, I expect. I just expect just a crowd of beautiful people, like who can take us for what we are. Yeah. And you know, we're coming back from Brazil. You know, a couple of weeks ago. You know, we're used to people singing along and chanting "ole ole ole" in between songs. We'll
But you
see.
know, Brazil is a very specific place, but we have very things in common with Brazil. So
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
we can go ole ole ole.
Yeah, we love that. It makes us feel like soccer pros, you know,
Truls,
stars.
thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope to see you in Lisbon. Have a nice journey to our
Thank you.
country,
Mhm.
and congratulations for Six. It's a wonderful, wonderful album. Thank you
Thank you
so
very much.
much.
Thank you. All right.
Bye
Have a
bye.
good day. Bye.